This is going to be another episode of Titan Builds a Pro Car. If you haven't watched my update video, maybe go check that out. That kind of goes over everything and get you guys up to speed on what I've done since the rear bash bar. So we're working on the car today, and I got a couple days off, so figured I'd get going on some odds and ends. Just all the little finicky things, like stuff that takes time, like running wires, making sure that they're placed right, gotta make mounts for my seat, and you know, this all takes time. So just basically going to start by pulling some wires out of my old car and getting the battery hooked up as much as I can. I've already made this kind of fuse panel looking thing here, and that just is like a battery shut off switch and the master fuse for the whole car. So I gotta go get the power wire so I can continue running from this fuse here to the front of the car, where we're going to distribute power from the alternator and then to the ECU and the fuse panel inside. So I basically just got to go outside and keep pulling some wires out. I'm going to reuse the old battery wires just because they're already long enough, and I'm going to use what I got around here as much as I can. So I'm going to go outside, and super windy. Got to grab some tools yet, but see my old chassis sitting here. Alrighty, well, that wasn't as easy as I thought, and it's freaking really blowing out there, but I ended up getting this out. And I also got the whole Haltech harness out as well. And I just went ahead and kind of placed the engine harness through here. There's a little hole right up there, so that's pretty much the engine harness all sitting on my wheel. And I'm just trying to figure out where I want to mount the actual ECU, and then this is all the fuses for the engine. So I gotta pull the dash out, and I'm thinking I'm gonna put them right under this airbag vent. So I'll just make this basically a hole and then make a mount off the cage to kind of hold everything, and I think it'll be easy to check fuses, because I tried to hide it before and it looked clean, but trying to change a fuse was like absolutely impossible. So I feel like this is a good spot if you're I don't know, even sitting in line and one of your fuses blow, you know, you can just lean over and check them at least, right? So I'm gonna go ahead and pull my dash out and see where everything else lines up, and then I'll run that battery cable all the way back. It's actually welding cable, that's what I use anyway, and just pound on lugs. It's easy enough, and I have enough of it laying around. So anyway, needless to say, dash is coming out, and we're gonna make some brackets for the fuse panel and the Haltech. So let's pull that dash out. So I got the dash out. Gives you a little bit of more clear view of what's going on inside the car here. But anyway, I'm hoping the ECU is going to sit somewhere like that, or even like this, depending on how it looks with the dash back in. And I'll have this guy kind of sitting somewhere like that as well. It all depends on how much room I have on the dash. I actually took out this kind of airbag hatch, whatever the hell you want to call it. I'm just going to trim it a bit more so that my ECU and the fuse block will sit a little lower in there. Alright, so I have adequate room now, so I'm hoping it's going to sit a little bit recessed in there, but just so you guys can get the idea. And Haltech, something like that. So I gotta make some base plates, which are kind of mocked up right there, and just weld them right to the cage here, and then you can pull the dash in and out and not have to worry about these being in your way. So I'm just gonna clean those up and probably put some riv nuts in them and see where I want to mount these for good. got my little base plates cut here, and you can see the rib nut installed. It's just that easy. So I'll show you how I do that. You can buy these pretty much anywhere. So it's just like a normal rivet, except you thread it onto the actual riveter itself. And then you got your hole. I don't know if it'll focus enough or not, but you can actually see it. Just kind of squish down there. And then you just unscrew it, which is honestly kind of the trickiest part. And that's it. So I'll finish those 3, and then I'll make sure that all the holes fit. And see, I got my little stoppers here. They're just gonna get welded onto the tube from the roll cage. So that'll be the ECU, and that'll be the fuse block, something like that. So finish this up and go back to the car. Alrighty, so I test the plugs for the ECU and everything lines up perfectly, so that's awesome. And then I just started running my wires kind of down the side of the car here in the door jamb, so you can kind of see them there, kind of beside the seat, then up and around over the wheel well. So I have power and ground. Just trying to find a good angle here. There we go. So it's kind of like a little fuse box, and then a battery shut-off switch, and then it's just positive and negative going to the old seatbelt bolt there. That's our ground, and then the positive kind of runs in my wheel well beside the seat and up there. So the master shut-off switch, or the emergency shut-off switch, I planned on putting it here, like I did on my other car. I think it works good for my chassis, but it's supposed to be on the driver's side, so I'm going to see if they care about that, or if they prefer I have it over there. It's just a lot more extra wiring and shite that I don't really want to do, but other than that, it's a good start to the wiring. So I'm going to just pull out the seat and start mocking up some brackets for that and seeing how we can get that mounted in. Alright, another day at the shop here. I got a little carried away last night and made kind of like rails, I guess you could say, to mount my seat. So I'm just gonna make these brackets in the front still. Bolt hole there down to the bottom. So as I usually do, I make cardboard templates for pretty much everything. So I whipped up some templates here out of cardboard, transferred them over, cut them in my shear, and I'm just going to drill out these holes, clean them up a bit, and then tack them in place. I'll sit in the seat one more time just to make sure I'm comfortable, and then pull everything out and weld it out. Looks super sick. Pretty stoked on how it fits and the way it looks in the car. I got adequate leg room, even hip room. I got lots of room here to get in and out of the car. Made my little foot pedal box there. So the driving position is really well. I'm not going to sit in it because I'm going to get it super dirty. So I'm just going to wrap it up in plastic again. I did sit in it with it wrapped, so it's freaking pretty awesome. Just giving you guys a little peek of what's next. quite a variety of little things here and there, but we're making progress, slowly but surely. So after I mounted my seat yesterday, I just started running some wires. So get you guys up to speed on where we're at with the wiring. The battery is pretty much fully wired. I got my ground connected right there, and then the power wire is going from the battery along the side of the car all the way up to about the dash right here. So I'm gonna have to run that battery cable underneath the dash to the other side from my kill switch. Needs to be on the driver's side under the window. Once we're at the switch, we'll run it back to this side and go to the starter and the alternator. So we'll try to do that today. And I also ran power wires to the back of the car, brake lights, tail lights, and then a extra power wire. The fuel pump is already a wire back there for the fuel pump, so we've got 4 wires total going to the back, and I tried to just keep them nice and tight with the battery cables up and along the wheel well there, around the master fuse and the battery shut-off switch through that little hole in the bulkhead. So if you go around in the back, you can see we got wires in the back now. So we got fuel pump, brake lights, running lights, and the extra wire in case we need power for something else. So the back of the car is basically, I wouldn't say done, but it's powered, I guess you could say. I have power wires running back there, so I can splice onto those. So the next thing I want to do is do the front chassis harness and run power wires up to around the same spot. So that's going to be the headlights and the radiator fans, as well as probably wipers. First things first is I'm just going to solder these together. So my headlights are using plugs, and I got a plug for each light, and then run the power wires back there. So we'll start with the headlights, do some soldering, some shrink wrapping, and just keep tackling all the little odds and ends. So let's get to it. Okay, so I forgot the GoPro at my house yesterday, so I didn't manage to film anything at all, but I did finish most of the wiring. The whole front of the car is done. I got running lights, headlights, fans, all up front, and they're all kind of tucked under, as you guys probably saw. And then I tested in the back, so I got fuel pump, running lights, brake lights in the back there. You can kind of see her through the holes. And then I went ahead and made this fancy fuse panel and relay holder, or relay panel, fuse panel, and it kind of just runs in behind the dash there. And then this is the feed wire to it, which is going to be hooked up to the starter and alternator wire. So that's where it'll be getting power from. But just for now, I just wanted to show you guys how it looks and that it does function. So I left some wires hanging for power to the gauge lights themselves. So I just got a wire in the other gauges. I run all mechanical gauges, so it's just power for the backlight. I still got to do my speedometer and the wideband. But I have wires already ran for them back here, so those are ready to go. And everything's nice and clean. Like, I'll pull the dash out and show you guys in another video once we paint, but everything is nice and tucked and easy to work on and see what's what. So we got our ignition. I don't have power going to the ECU at the moment, but you can hear the relay. So the ignition works. The fans work. So they're pumping out air, and we still got voltage. Running lights. So that'll be my tail lights and the front, like running lights. You know, they're not the high beams. They're just to give you a little extra light and accent at night. So those are the running lights, and then headlights. And then these are the wipers, but they're sharing a relay, and they're sharing a relay with windows. And I haven't hooked up the windows yet, so I still got to do windows. The wipers already ran. I just need to hook up the power. So wipers and windows yet to do still, but other than that, I tested the brake lights. Brake lights work too. So I got to do like the back tail lights themselves and then just merge the wires. So there's a bit of wiring to do in the back still. Alrighty, so many days later, finally got the wiring done. Took me a little bit to run all the wires and place everything where I wanted it to be. I was a little bit OCD with tucking the wires and making sure that everything is not too visible, but basically from the last video I had to remove this switch panel again so I could add some more holes for switches, and then I added the speedometer and the tachometer as well. What's cool about this is that it's actually attached to the steering column, so it's hard to do with two hands, but it goes up and down with the steering wheel. So if I'm playing around with driver position, at least I have, you know, my gauges move with it. I still have a clear view of them. But other than that, I added these brake lights on top, brake strips, and some red LEDs on the inside of the car. But nothing else really besides that. I was just tucking wires and making sure everything is working. I did wire up the gauges. So the only thing left to do is really add my windows, because they're electric, so just got to run some wires for those. I already have power, I just need to hook them up. So I'll just kind of demonstrate what it looks like. So you guys probably can't see in here right now, so I'll just start flicking some switches. Basically we got headlights, or sorry, running lights and headlights, and then I added these fancy little interior lights. So I still got to hook up these gauges, backlights, but I already ran the wires for them. But the red really makes it pop. I'm hoping that at night it'll kind of just glow and accent the white cage. So yeah, that's pretty much it, man. Give you guys a look from afar. But yeah, it's actually starting to look like a car again, which is pretty cool. I wired up my signal lights to just run all the time. So I'll show you guys right now. Shut off my headlights. So I put LEDs in the factory fog lights, and then I wired up my signal lights to just be illuminated the whole time. So I don't know if I would drive with them, but it would help illuminate the road a little bit more. And I also did the same thing on the back here, just to kind of add some accent. And then I'll just demonstrate the taillights for you guys, or the brake lights I should say, on the top of the roof. So that's as per the rule book as well. But yeah, I mean, that's pretty much it. So, sorry that the video was kind of all over the place. I'm not a wiring specialty guy by any means, so it's kind of tricky to document as I'm still learning myself. But anyway, I'm going to wrap it there. Until next time, next video I'll be pulling out the dash and painting the inside so we can assemble everything one last time. Yeah, and basically just keep putting this car together. But until then, thanks for watching. Make sure you like and subscribe, and I will see you next video. Until then, see ya.